Have you ever wished you could navigate your dreams? What if there was a guidebook that could help you, but also led you down a path of uncanny dangers? Welcome to The Sleep Atlas, a riveting sleep story that takes you on a journey through the subconscious mind. Dive into the world of dreams with our protagonist Alex as she uses a mysterious guidebook to traverse her dream world. Explore the captivating realms of the subconscious, but remember, not all that glitters is gold. Alex, a restless woman in her mid-30s, is an insomniac. She is more familiar with the stillness of the night and the hum of the street lamps outside her window than the embrace of a restful night's sleep. Her nights are an endless struggle of tossing and turning, her mind ceaselessly active with thoughts that refuse to let her rest. One afternoon, while browsing a local thrift store, a regular haunt for her, Alex's eyes are drawn to an unusual object wedged between piles of pre-loved books. It's a leather-bound book with its cover worn down by time, the color faded to a muted, dusty brown. It has an antiquated charm, evoking an image of the past, a curiosity that silently calls out to her. Pulling it out, she brushes the dust off the cover, revealing the title, The Dreamer's Atlas. The pages, old and yellowed, are filled with sketches of ethereal landscapes, diagrams of dream navigation, and archaic-looking script discussing concepts of subconscious exploration. The book promises guidance through the landscape of dreams, an enticing proposal for Alex, who has spent countless nights trapped in her own waking world. The possibility of transforming her insomniac nights into journeys of exploration intrigues her. She imagines finally being able to traverse the world of dreams, perhaps finding a cure to her endless nights in the process. In a mix of desperation and curiosity, Alex purchases the book. As she walks home, the weight of the old guidebook in her bag feels like a promise, a new hope for her sleepless nights. Little does she know, this unusual find would become her ticket into an extraordinary journey through the labyrinth of her own subconscious mind. After several nights spent immersed in the cryptic pages of The Dreamer's Atlas, Alex begins to experience something that has been unfamiliar to her for the longest time: vivid dreams. Where previously her nights were blank canvases, void of any color or activity, they now burst with life and color, a cinema of unconscious thoughts and memories projected onto the screen of her mind. During the first few nights, her dreams are filled with impressions of her past, her childhood home, faces of old friends she hasn't thought of in years, and snatches of forgotten conversations. The images are bright and clear, the emotions tied to them resurfacing with renewed intensity. Memories she had unintentionally buried deep within her subconscious resurface, providing her with a peculiar mix of nostalgia and a renewed understanding of herself. Guided by the instructions in the guidebook, Alex starts to navigate these dreams. She learns to direct her focus, to ask questions, to actively participate in the unfolding scenes rather than just passively observe. It's a fascinating process, akin to being both the director and the audience of her very own movie. The landscapes she traverses vary wildly. One night, she might find herself wandering the echoing corridors of her old school. The next, she might be soaring high above a shimmering cityscape that appears to be made entirely of glass. Sometimes, she stumbles upon realms that defy logic, with gravity working sideways, with colors brighter than any she'd seen in the waking world, with creatures and beings from her wildest imaginations. Her subconscious fears and desires also begin to take form. A childhood fear of clowns morphs into a nightmarish circus where she's the main attraction. On another occasion, she finds herself receiving a prestigious award she'd always coveted in her professional life, only to realize it's just a figment of her dreaming mind. Through these dreams, Alex experiences her subconscious in a way she never has before. It's a fascinating journey, one that excites her and terrifies her in equal measure. As she gets better at interpreting the guidebook's advice, she ventures deeper, oblivious to the line she's crossing between a helpful exploration and dangerous immersion. As the nights turn into weeks, Alex grows more and more comfortable with her new nighttime routine. Her previous dread of sleepless nights begins to transform into a quiet anticipation. As the world around her settles into the lull of the night, she finds herself excited about the prospect of another journey into the depths of her own mind. She uses the guidance from the Dreamer's Atlas to confront not only the pleasant memories, but also her old traumas and insecurities. She visits the painful moments of her past, a bitter argument with a loved one, a humiliating failure at work, a heartbreaking end of a relationship. Each time, the guidebook helps her navigate these tumultuous terrains with courage and newfound understanding. She speaks to the manifestations of her insecurities, each taking a form that represents the fear it stems from. From facing an enormous, intimidating figure, embodying her fear of rejection, to having a heartfelt conversation with a child version of herself who still carries the weight of a parental disappointment, she takes each step cautiously but firmly. Interestingly, as she confronts these deep-seated issues, Alex notices a significant improvement in her sleep quality. She wakes up in the morning feeling refreshed, the dark circles under her eyes receding with each passing day. She's less irritable, more focused, and finds that her performance at work has improved significantly. Sleep, once her worst enemy, is now her refuge. She's finally able to rest and recover after years of sleep deprivation. It's the sweet, restful slumber she has longed for, laced with the excitement of introspective journeys. For a while, it seems that she has discovered the perfect cure for her insomnia. Yet, the deepest layers of her subconscious are still unexplored, and the guidebook still holds mysteries yet to be unveiled. As Alex delves deeper into the labyrinth of her subconscious, guided by the instructions in the Dreamer's Atlas, her dreams begin to take a darker turn. The once vibrant, colorful dreamscapes start to fade into gloomy hues. The friendly, familiar figures of her past transform into distorted, menacing versions of themselves. The dreams are no longer a welcome escape, but rather a precarious journey through a rapidly shifting terrain. In the guidebook, she comes across mentions of forbidden zones, sections of the subconscious mind representing the most intense, deep-seated fears and traumas. They are described as shadowy territories, a place where the mind conceals experiences and emotions it deems too overwhelming to confront. The book warns readers about these areas, urging them to avoid venturing into these dark pockets of their psyche, emphasizing their unstable and unpredictable nature. However, Alex is intrigued by the prospect of confronting these fears. She sees an opportunity to overcome the darkest corners of her mind and emerge victorious on the other side. She interprets the guidebook's warning as a challenge, a test of her newfound bravery. Motivated by a mix of curiosity and overconfidence, she disregards the advice and decides to venture into these forbidden zones. The first few steps are filled with adrenaline, the thrill of defying the book's caution. However, she is yet to realize that these uncharted territories hold terrors beyond her comprehension, threats that not only haunt her dreams, but also bleed into her waking reality. As Alex explores the forbidden zones, the line between her dreams and reality begins to blur. She wakes up with lingering feelings of fear and uncertainty from her dream explorations, casting a dark cloud over her waking hours. The restful sleep she once enjoyed starts to evade her again, replaced by nights filled with unsettling nightmares. During the day, she often catches herself second-guessing her experiences. Simple interactions become confusing as she struggles to distinguish whether they're taking place in the real world or are remnants from her dream. The faces she encounters in her nightmares begin to overlap with those of real people, casting an ominous veil over her everyday interactions. She starts seeing figures from her dreams lurking in the shadows. A man with a hat who embodied her fear of abandonment in her dreams appears at the end of the street as she walks to work. The monstrous version of her boss from a nightmare seems to glare at her from the office window. They are just fleeting glimpses, but enough to keep her on edge, trapped in a constant state of anxiety. Her sleep, once her refuge, becomes a battleground. Night after night, she is plunged into terrifying scenarios. A sinking ship with no lifeboats, a maze with walls closing in on her, a fall from a towering height with no ground in sight. Nightmares that make her wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding. She tries to find solutions in the Dreamer's Atlas, but the guidebook seems inadequate against the magnitude of these terrifying experiences. Its advice, which previously seemed insightful, now feel vague and unhelpful. It's as if she has ventured off the edge of the map, navigating territories that the book hasn't accounted for. The thrill of exploring her subconscious has turned into a haunting experience. She's caught in a cycle of distressing dreams and disoriented waking hours, a far cry from the initial promise of peace and self-discovery that the Dreamer's Atlas held for her. As Alex struggles with the unending cycle of haunting dreams and disturbed waking hours, she begins to dig deeper into the origins of the Dreamer's Atlas. The blurring lines between dream and reality spark her curiosity about the person who penned this enigmatic guide. She can't help but wonder, how could someone comprehend the landscape of dreams to such depth without having been affected by it? This questioning leads her to investigate the history of the book. She traces it back to its author, an obscure dream explorer named Enoch Silas. Once a respected scientist in the field of neurology, Enoch was fascinated by the world of dreams and the potential for self-discovery that it held. His obsession with the subconscious mind led him to conduct a series of experiments on himself, diving deeper into his own dreams than anyone had ever ventured before. However, this exploration came at a cost. Enoch, much like Alex, ignored the warnings and ventured into the forbidden zones of his subconscious. The encounter with his deepest fears and traumas was overwhelming, leading him down a path of psychological distress and eventually causing him to lose his grip on reality. The more Alex learns about Enoch, the more she realizes that the Dreamer's Atlas was not just a guidebook. It was also a cautionary tale and a desperate plea. The notes and warnings she had previously seen as challenges were, in reality, Enoch's attempts to dissuade others from making the same mistakes he did. He had disguised his desperate message within the guide, hoping to deter anyone else from venturing too far into the treacherous territories of the subconscious mind. This revelation fills Alex with a profound sense of dread. She realizes that she is walking down the same dangerous path that Enoch did, teetering on the edge of losing her sanity. She has strayed far off the course of self-exploration and self-healing, instead finding herself entangled in a psychological labyrinth that threatens to consume her. She must now find a way out before it's too late. As the reality of her situation dawns on her, Alex finds herself trapped between a waking world that feels increasingly dreamlike and a dream world that's all too real and terrifying. She knows she needs to break this cycle before it completely unhinges her sanity, much like it did Enoch's. She delves back into the Dreamer's Atlas, not for further exploration, but for a way out. She spends her sleepless nights studying the notes and sketches, looking for any hint on how to regain control over her dreams. She finds solace in the idea that Enoch, despite his descent into madness, had managed to pen down this guide. There must be something within these pages, she thinks, that could help her restore balance. The resolution comes when she stumbles upon a passage that suggests the power of confrontation. It discusses how meeting one's fears head-on in the dream world can lead to control and mastery over them. This resonates with Alex, as she realizes that her attempts to escape her fears in her dreams have only amplified them. With a sense of newfound determination, she decides to confront her worst fears. It is a daunting task, one that requires courage and resolve. She prepares herself mentally, repeatedly reminding herself that the monsters in her dreams are merely manifestations of her own fears, not real entities. In the dreams that follow, Alex stops running. Instead, she faces the nightmarish figures and surreal scenarios. She confronts the man with the hat, the sinking ship, the collapsing maze, and each monstrous figure, meeting them not with terror, but with a silent, steadfast courage. The more she confronts these fears, the more they start to lose their power. The monsters shrink, the stormy seas calm, and the maze's walls stop closing in. Each confrontation, each victory, strengthens her control over her dreams. Eventually, her dreams become less terror-filled and more peaceful. She learns to navigate her subconscious without stirring the forbidden zones. Her waking life, too, starts to regain its normalcy, no longer haunted by the shadows of her dream world. This journey of confrontation and mastery over her fears allows Alex to break the cycle of sleepless days and nightmare-ridden nights, leading her towards a healthier understanding and exploration of her subconscious mind. The dream world, instead of a battleground, once again becomes a source of insight and self-discovery. It's a hard-earned peace, a victory against her own fears, and a return to sanity from the brink of a psychological abyss. As Alex begins to regain control over her dreams and her waking life, she comes to a crucial realization. She understands that self-discovery isn't a linear path laid out in a guidebook. Rather, it's a personal journey, unique and individual, that can't be hurried or forced. It's a delicate dance between exploring and understanding, between confronting and healing. The Dreamer's Atlas, while providing her with initial insights into the world of dreams, had led her down a dangerous path by suggesting a one-size-fits-all approach to navigating the subconscious. It didn't account for individual variances, for personal traumas, or for the pace at which different people are comfortable confronting their fears. In the end, Alex learns to respect the complexities of her subconscious. She acknowledges that while it holds keys to self-understanding, it also safeguards intense fears and traumas that require a careful and respectful approach. It's a realm where she must tread lightly, taking her time to understand and confront each layer instead of recklessly plunging into its depths. She now sees the Dreamer's Atlas not as a guide, but as a cautionary tale. It serves as a reminder of the potential dangers of rushing the process of self-discovery, of venturing too quickly and too deep into the labyrinth of the subconscious mind. The book, once an alluring invitation to dream exploration, now stands as a symbol of the balance needed between curiosity and caution. In the end, Alex's experience teaches her a valuable lesson about the importance of pacing oneself in the pursuit of self-understanding. She discovers that her journey into the subconscious, and indeed any path of self-discovery, is not a race, but a lifelong endeavor that must be taken one step at a time. With this new perspective, she is able to embark on a healthier, safer exploration of her dreams, finding the balance between self-discovery and self-care.